4 separate decades to this point that I've been in fitness and seen the evolution of gym culture. While it may work for some, the generation of people that I'm in, typical generation of people that I'm coaching, don't care for all that. When it came to fitness, I was like, yeah, need to have the credentials to do it. I applied all those philosophies, concepts, and understandings to my clientele today. You ready? Let's go. All right, you know what time it is. It's Riding my Coach Kia, and I apologize. It's been a couple days since I've been able to get an episode in and give you a little bit of a backstory. I actually did do one the other day. I've got my phone on airplane mode. The other day, about halfway through my video on the way to work, I got a phone call or a text message, and I denied it. And I continued on recording the video, went to edit it later on, and halfway through the video, the volume cut out. So lesson learned. Put phone on airplane mode to record, especially if it's about 30 to 40 minutes long, because it's going to be a waste of time. Anyways, here we go. Let's see what's on the radio.
103 Jams wants you to experience the ultimate Christmas.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Listen for the 103 keyword.
God, I can't stand the fucking radio. I can't remember the last time the radio actually had good music. It's just like corporate sponsored music that they constantly keep on rotation and force down your throat, which is why YouTube is winning. Spotify is winning. All these streaming services are winning. Nobody wants to listen to the bullshit on the radio. People would much rather listen to a podcast, watch a YouTube video, learn something, ebooks. I can't remember the last time I heard anybody say, man, I can't wait to go and listen to the radio on the drive home. Come on now. I always start these videos with a little bit of a weather update. It looks pretty nice out here in the Show Me State in Missouri, in the Kansas City area. It's really sunny out, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful blue sky. It's probably just above freezing, 35, 36 degrees, and it got down to 17 degrees the other morning. God bless. I mean, it was cold. Brr. Topic of this video. I really pull these out at random. I try to talk about a little bit about how my shift went, some of my experiences, and you learn something every day. You learn something every day on the fire job. We do mostly medical calls, but there's always a chance we get a gas line break, a car wreck, some type of rescue, but medical calls make up a majority of what we do. And so at my department, we do both the fire and EMS, or the emergency medical service side. So we get a good mix. We get a good mix of both. This past 48-hour set, I got to be the engineer on the pumper both days, which is really nice. It's nice driving both days. And if I had to say the best job on the department would be to be a full-time engineer. Just drive every day. Know your truck, know your tools, know your people, know the capabilities, drive to and from the call. Too much responsibility. You're responsible for the truck and for knowing what to do with it, how to get places, get people safe there, and get them safely back. My kind of job. And I'm going into my 15th year in the fire service. I spent my first whole year as a volunteer, they would call it. It was actually a reserve spot. Weren't working for free, but if we got on a call, we got paid by call, so they called it a reserve. You were in reserve for when the full-time guys needed somebody to cover, fill a shift, work a multi-major incident, that sort of thing. 2010, my first year landing my full-time career job at the city I'm with, and a time of reflection, most definitely. It's probably about the halfway point of my career. Retirement age is 55 in the fire service. We can retire a little bit early because the hours are, you'd work a little bit more hours since we're there for 48 hours. Hence, retirement age is at 55. But you get to the stage in my career where I'm at, is you start thinking about like retirement. You start thinking about things after the job. And if retirement age is 55, follow me here, retirement age is 55, the average lifespan of a man in the United States is 74 and a half. So that's 20 years. And if you're in good health, you would assume you could live longer, but that's average. You're just running off averages. You start collecting Social Security, Medicare, all that at 65, so there's 10. And if you're talking about the very last 10 years of your life, 5 years, depending on your health, that's barring you retire with all your marbles and you don't injure yourself and your marriage is intact, all those hurdles you got to worry about just being in the fire service anyways. Are they going to be the best 5 years of your life? Hopefully. You start running the numbers, like, okay, you minus that last 5. If I work a little bit extra, then maybe 10 years of livable, like living life at a high standard type of deal. It's very interesting to think of it that way. And how many 60-year-olds you see out there taking canoe trips and climbing mountains? You got to think about that. That's the shit I enjoy doing now. I like living an active lifestyle. But in 20 years, at 61 years old, will I enjoy doing that? I don't know. So I look at time a little bit differently. But getting to the halfway point of my career, I'm starting to do a lot of reflection. And I thought it would be interesting to do a quick video on my background, how I ended up at this point, getting into the fire service, been in the medical field, going into my 24th, 25th year. What is my experience? What did I start doing to get where I'm at today? And ultimately, how did that lead to fitness coaching? Why did I do it? And if I'm telling on myself, graduated high school in the year of 2001, May of 2001. So right out of high school, I knew that I didn't want to work food. I didn't want to work fast food. I didn't want to serve food. I didn't want to do anything with food because my experience, my jobs during high school was in the food service. And my last job I really enjoyed, I worked dietary at a nursing home, which ultimately was my first exposure to the medical field. And so me and a bunch of buddies of mine ended up getting jobs at a nursing home working dietary. So we were responsible for feeding the residents, preparing their food, serving them, cleaning up the kitchen, breaking down all the dishes and making sure it was ready for the next day. People eat 3 times a day. It was my first exposure to the medical field with the various levels of disciplines. When it comes to taking care of patients, we had RNs, LPNs, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, hospitalists. They're just coming in and out. And then often most of those people were there either for Alzheimer's, rehab, some were on assisted living. It gave me my first exposure to that, but really was my introduction into preparing food and nutrition. It was the first time I ever realized that some people had restricted diets. Because as dietary, we were preparing the food. We knew we had X amount of residents on our floor, and some of them might be low sodium, some of them might have been puree, mechanical food, which means people that have trouble eating and chewing that food because they either have teeth or they don't. Also thickened liquids, because some people would have issues swallowing, aphasia or dysphagia, and we'd have to thicken their liquids. So when they swallow water, it doesn't go down the wrong pipe, choke, you name it. So I got my first exposure with nutrition there. The other cool thing was all the leftover food, we had to throw it away. It was either throw it away or take it home. And I used to just take home a ton of the food. Gained a ton of weight. My junior and senior year in high school, that was my job. And that was my first exposure to the medical field, to nutrition, to taking care of people. And working at a nursing home as dietary, got to work a lot with the nursing staff. And so I would constantly ask them, what's school like? How do you do this? Do you enjoy it? So without knowing it, I was interviewing for my future job in healthcare. And after graduating in May of 2001, I really had no plans. Didn't take football scholarships, not anything special. They were lower division schools, but offered scholarships. And I just was not interested. I was not interested in playing football. I was not interested in playing rugby. I wanted to travel, surf, and party, telling myself exactly everything I was doing. Just didn't seem interesting. I wanted to do that instead. So I spent that whole summer traveling, spent time in Hawaii, went to LA, went to Vegas. I traveled all over the place. And when the graduation money ran out, I ended up back home with no plans. Now what do I do? Ended up getting another job back in dietary for the remaining part of that summer. It ultimately led to a family member asking me if I wanted to join her and going to medical assisting school. What's a medical assistant? Basically what medical assistants are is they're the ones that check in at the doctor's office, dental office. You could work in hospitals, clinics. You could take x-rays, draw blood. You could do a ton of different things. And I like the idea of that because it wasn't serving food. It was medical. And the training was 9 months, and then you were a certified medical assistant, and they guaranteed job placement. So here I was, not in school, not playing sports, decided, hey, I might as well start a little bit in this, and I could branch over into nursing, which is ultimately what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a nurse or go into medicine and be a doctor. Spent all that, the remaining part of that summer going into late 2001 as a medical assistant. I was 17 years old, learning about human anatomy, physiology, learned how to draw blood, medication administration. I learned medical billing. This is really before the internet was really a big thing, so a lot of it was hand charting, learning abbreviations, medical terminology. It was the foundation of my medical career, what I learned there as a medical assistant, and I really enjoyed that, going through that. And if you can recall, a huge event happened in September of 2001. I was in medical assistant school, and we live watched the tragedy unfold in New York with the Twin Towers and all the events that followed that. And so I was almost certain that I was getting drafted. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's definitely an act of war. I'm turning 8 in 2 weeks, and my ass is about to get drafted to go fight some war somewhere. That was my main concern at the time. Fast forward past those couple of months, ended up not getting drafted because people volunteered like crazy after 9/11. Landed a job in the medical field, so they kept their promise. They let us do an externship where you basically shadow people around for X amount of hours, and landed my first job was with pulmonary office. So pulmonary medicine is anything pertaining to the lungs, respiratory, breathing, and it was 3 doctors out of the St. Joe Medical System here, St. Joe Medical Center in Kansas City, 103rd and State Line. I landed a job with the pulmonary doctors there. So there were 3 doctors there. One of them was an asthma and allergy specialist. He was like the guru in town. The other one was world-renowned pulmonologist who his expertise was any diseases of the lungs. So he would see transplant patients, advanced diseases with respiratory, COPD, emphysema. And the other doctor there, which ended up being the doctor that I worked for directly, was basically his nurse. They called us nurses. I was like, start paying me like a nurse. Shit, you're gonna call me a nurse? He was the head of the sleep department. And so we performed polysomnographies, which is overnight sleep studies. We would do nocturnal oximetries. I'd perform on every patient that came in. I would do a spirometry reading, which is basically lung functions. There's a more advanced test called a pulmonary functions test. I would do those as well. Those take 45 minutes to an hour. I would take x-rays, draw blood gases, complete physical histories on patients before the doctor came in. So none of it was on iPads. None of it was on the internet. It was all handwritten. Each patient that came in, I would take a history, get a physical, vital signs, medications, allergies. I'd coordinate all their CAT scans, follow-ups. It was a lot of work for an 18-year-old, but it really taught me a lot of those organizational skills and understanding the healthcare system at the time. Billing. I still remember ICD-9 billing codes. 272.4, that's hyperlipidemia. 401.1, that's hypertension or generalized hypertension. This is useless information for 18, 19-year-old. But it taught me a lot about the healthcare system here in the U.S. Got to see a ton of that, but really learned a lot about sleep, learned a lot about the respiratory system, learned a ton about medications at the time, just unbeknownst to me as part of the job. We would hand out samples. I would learn what these medications did to people, why they took them, and formed a pretty solid foundation on my pharmaceutical knowledge, or at least what the medications were. Did that for a couple of years, ended up getting a job at a larger hospital, the biggest hospital here in the Kansas City area, at the University of Kansas Medical Center, working in the cancer center. So going through medical assistant training, they used to ask the students, hey, what kind of job is your dream job here in the medical field? And being one of the only 2 guys in the entire class, most of the girls wanted to be in labor and delivery, family medicine, pediatrics. But the one that commonly came up with a lot of people of what they didn't want to do, most people were like, I want to do anything but cancer. I want to do anything but hospice, which is end-of-life care. Nobody wanted to work oncology. So I was nervous about even getting a job there. They paid really well, $14 an hour. I tell you what, in 2004, 2005, boy, no kids. I had a house. I bought my first house at 18, and you couldn't sign me up fast enough. I ended up taking the job there at the University of Kansas Cancer Center and really got into my lab testing. What I did, I was working as a lab assistant. We would do phlebotomy all day. So we draw blood, fasting labs, pre-treatment labs. We would do research medication lab, research studies. People would have to have specific blood drawn at specific times and dates. Got to access porticats, central lines. People getting chemotherapy would need labs before and after. And sometimes we would assist the nurses in starting IVs, all that. Needles, you name it. Ended up being one of the specialists. Drawing people with tough veins is hard enough already, but you add in chemotherapy, radiation, that sort of thing. The vascular system really takes a big hit, and got really good at being able to locate veins. So we would actually teach the nurses. I actually got to teach nurses, or when they had really hard sticks, they would call me certain places in the hospital, and your boy would stick and move. Like a sense of pride coming in with how good I got at drawing blood. Really enjoyed my time there. It really was my first real deep dive into getting really close with patients. It's also where I learned one of my biggest lessons in healthcare, as far as keeping your personal feelings separated from the patients, which is really tough to do. I would see some of these people daily, once a week, 5 times a week. It just depends on their treatment modality, how many times they would come in and out. But got to know people because they would come in. I got their blood the first time. They were used to me sticking them, and I couldn't tell you how many funerals I went to, birthday parties, celebrations of life, and it really took a number on me. But when I think on the biggest lessons that I learned there was to care about what you're doing, but not to get too emotionally involved, because you only have so much of that in your life. To start divvying it out to every single patient, you could spend a lot of that compassion. I came across a term called compassion fatigue, is where you're in a job where you care for other people and eventually hit this point where you just run out of compassion and you become cold and you become jaded. And sometimes people that maybe aren't really sick, that just need some compassion, some hand patting, like you don't have it in you. You don't, and so it comes off very cold. One of the biggest lessons I learned there. Ended up moving from KU Med to a smaller hospital here in Kansas City, Olathe Medical Center, which is like small town hospital in comparison to KU Med. And there I worked the swing shift as a lab assistant. The differences being at the cancer center, people came to me during typical hours, 9 to 5. We would do their labs and whatnot. But at the smaller hospital that I ended up going to, I was the lab guy that would go to all the hospital rooms. So these are all the admitted patients. I'd go to the ER. Emergency, one of my first exposures to emergency medicine. We would go to the rooms, draw blood every 6 hours, 12 hours, just depends. Go to each person's room, draw their blood, off they go. So people, damn near everybody, oh, the vampire's back. Coming to the room at 2 a.m. and draw blood. I had to get really good to where I could draw people's blood while they were sleeping and not wake them up. Got really good at it and did that for a couple of years. Ended up moving on. I wanted to get out of the laboratory. Knew that my career choices were pretty limited. In the lab, you either run up and start doing the formal testing and become a lab tech. What is that? Low gap. Either become a lab tech or you can get into a managerial administration position, which did not sound the slightest bit of fun to me. No way. Left that job. My last job in the hospital setting, I got a job as an assistant for a surgeon back at KU Medical Center, general surgery. This guy was the chief of general surgery, a really good doctor, and got to work a little bit on post-surgery side, pre-op, did all of that, and decided that I had to get out of hospital work. Enjoyed the work, but I wanted to do something more where I got outside, did a little bit more. I want something different. It was the same thing every day. 100 patients a day, draw blood, run the labs, take a lunch break, and the ceiling was there eventually. I thought back, I made a really good buddy friend at KU Medical Center. His name was Anthony, and he was a fireman. Was always talking to me about doing it, was telling me how awesome it was, and this is not very far removed from 9/11, and there's this little surge where everybody wanted to be a fireman after 9/11. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Everybody wants to do that. And I got to around to thinking about it one day on a lunch break, and I got a hold of Anthony. I was like, so what do I do? A week later, I was enrolled to an academy, and I was starting my journey into firefighting, and eventually went into that full time. Left the surgery job, ended up not working the last 6 months of the academy, which really lit a fire under my ass to land a fire job. If you know anything about the fire service, it's highly competitive, and maybe a handful of people will get jobs out of the academy, maybe, without experience. And I'd never worked a fire job before. I had medical field experience and was able to land one right out the gate. I worked 6 months as a reserve, worked at temp agencies as a medical assistant, using my prior experience to do that. And it was Christmas. It's the best fucking Christmas present in the last 15 years. Sitting there, got a young family, got a baby at home, got a young wife. We were living at her parents' house, sleeping in the basement, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. And I was interviewing everywhere. Got a bunch of FU letters from places I interviewed at, and the place I thought for sure wasn't going to hire me, I just went and interviewed, was as honest as I could be, and I was like, I won't hear back from them. You just keep applying places. And the weekend before Christmas, got the call and said, was offered a full-time job. And I remember accepting the conditional offer and being so excited that I knew my life was going to change, because I knew I was out of the hospital. I knew I was out of the 9 to 5. I knew I was going to get something I really wanted to do, and got to apply all my medical knowledge in it. I'm looking back on my career, that was 2010, Christmas of 2010, and I got the gift of joining the fire service, being pre-hospital medicine and paramedicine, and it's flown by. 15 years, nobody tells you how quick it's going to go till you hit it, and done a number of things. Got to use all that knowledge, got to take care of people. The great thing about pre-hospital is you have people maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 5. You drop them off at the hospital, then they're off to the hospital system. So you get to do the medical stuff, but you get to give them to somebody smarter and somebody that gets paid more. Take them to a doctor. And yeah, through my fire career, was able to promote to engineer, which is driving the trucks, promoted to specialist, which just means we can drive the big ladder trucks and operate the aerial ladders. And 8 years after being there, I decided I wanted to do more and went from being an EMT basic to getting my paramedic license, which was 2 years of additional training. It was 2 years and 500 or 600 hours of clinicals. It's a deep dive into cardiology, reading EKG strips, pharmacology, medication administration, patient care, everything. Like everything that I came across in all the years before I got into the fire service played into my paramedic training. And it came a little bit easier to me because I had all these years of constant exposure to that. I was able to draw simulations and use my prior experience to my training. And not being a really new person, I had some rank and I had some time at my job. So it was the best thing I could have done 8 years into my job because I was already well established at my job and had all this knowledge, was able to apply it, and been enjoying it ever since. And then that was 8 years in, I'm about to hit 15. Time flies, especially when you love what you're doing, and learned so much from my front lines as a paramedic, which ultimately led me into fitness and nutrition training. Because I hit a point in my career where I was comfortable. I felt like I got all the rank I wanted, did all the things I wanted to do, didn't want to promote, wasn't ever looking to be an officer, become a captain or a chief, and really let myself go. Put on a ton of weight, got up to almost 250 pounds, which I'm 5'8". On a good day, confident and wearing good boots, I'm 5'8". And to be 250 pounds at 5'8", and then need to throw on another 150 pounds of safety equipment and gear to fight fires, I got no gas in the tank. I had a couple situations where things could have went bad had I not been able to get myself out, and it made me realize the importance. I already knew the importance of physical capability and being in good health, but reached that point in my career where I was like, I made it to this point. If I want to last another 20 years and retire and not get anybody killed, including myself, I need to be the tip-top shape that I can be in as a firefighter and a first responder. And dove back into that, was able to apply my medical knowledge and my experience and all of my understanding of human anatomy and physiology and cardiology and understanding the endocrine system and just the way the body works, able to apply that to fitness, and always been in and out of the gym. Played sports in high school. Played men's rugby for club rugby on and off for the past 15, 20 years. It's so exercise was something that I understood, but coaching is a completely different thing. It's almost like patient care. You have to gather the information. You have to extrapolate the issues that they're having and their goals that they're wanting to do based on the information they give you. And then you have to formulate a game plan on how to get them from point A to point B. If someone's having respiratory issues, you need to get to the root cause of that and start a treatment plan that's at least going to get them started in the right place. If someone's in cardiac arrest, you have to start applying different drugs, start applying chest compressions. You need to do all the things to get them restarted and then get them from point A to point B. And being able to draw those simulations when it comes to fitness training came second nature to me. Now, when I got to this point where I finally lost the weight and I started coaching family members, I'm in a family of 14. I've got 8 brothers and 5 sisters and coworkers, and all these people that saw me do my transformation then wanted to know what I was doing. And I was literally coaching before I became Coach Kia. I was coaching people through on nutrition approaches, on exercises, on understanding rest and sleep, and then the recovering processes that come with that, how not getting sleep is going to affect your hormones down the line and could leave you feeling like crap, understanding nutrition and timing, from my days in dietary to my days in internal medicine. And it just made sense. And I was already coaching family members, and families they are the hardest ones to coach because they know you. It got to a point where I was like, I can do this. I really want to do this. And ended up in 2022 decided, you know what, I'm going to go and get my certifications, get my certified personal trainer, get my nutritionist, get my bodybuilding specialist. You can get 1 million certifications in fitness. And I just want them so I could say, yeah, I've got the credentials. I didn't really need to. Actually, I was going to do it without even getting the credentials. But I feel like credentials are important, especially when dealing with people's health. Going to see a doctor. Oh, I know all the stuff a doctor knows. Yeah, are you like a certified doctor? No, but I did stay at a Motel 8 last night. That ain't good enough. So when it comes to your health, like, credentialing is important. And then what is their resume? What do they know? Have they treated people before? Have they helped other people with similar issues? Like, those are the things I would think about from a health perspective. When it came to fitness, I was like, yeah, need to have the credentials to do it, and was able to do it at an accelerated program. Didn't take as much time as they thought. I got it done fairly quick and started my business. And I applied all those philosophies, concepts, and understandings to my clientele today, especially with the age group that I'm finding myself dealing with more and more often. People over 30 years old that have families, maybe can't get enough sleep or as much sleep as they'd like. They have underlying issues, they have medications, they're worried about hormones, they're worried about sleep. Understanding nutrition is just too difficult, it's too hard, and to help them simplify that, it's been 20 years in the making, learning holistically, like all the approaches and why you do things, and then the benefits that are coming downstream from doing those things. And it's taken off. Being a fitness coach for just over a year now, having the type of success that I never thought as far as being busy and being able to get clients their transformations and reach their goals didn't come as a surprise, because the science is pretty sound. You follow steps 1, 2, 3, you should get the result. When it comes to firefighting, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to healthcare, and applying those same principles to fitness seemed like a no-brainer to me. So now I'm finding I'm digging back into my administrative skills with coding and filing of appointments and paperwork and understanding that portion of the business. I couldn't imagine being, I don't know, like a plumber or something and trying to figure this job out. Still full-time firefighter, paramedic, engineer, launching a very busy online fitness and nutrition company. And it's been an amazing ride to this point. And so where I want to go from here is do more, to try to be able to reach more people, help more people solve this problem. Mostly it's obesity. People want to lose weight and get healthier. I at least want to give you an understanding, like my background, how Coach Kia ended up being Coach Kia, why I got into it. It's because my love of taking care of other people, helping other people, problem solving, and having this understanding, having this empathy, having this patient care that I felt with the fitness industry was lagging. It's all like showboat. It's all like fashion. It's all, are you better than somebody else? Can you get bigger and more jacked than somebody else? And that's not really what it's about. I've been in fitness since the 90s, the early 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, the 2020s. Going to be going and doing it the 2030s. That's 5 decades. 5 separate decades, 4 separate decades to this point that I've been in fitness and seen the evolution of gym culture. And while it may work for some, the generation of people that I'm in and the typical generation of people that I'm coaching don't care for all that. They're not worried about their gym fit. They're not worried about getting swole. They're not worried about getting on stage. They're worried about being around longer for their family. They're about being optimal for their job. They want to be in better shape to take care of their family, their kids, have their spouses look at them like they did when they started dating and before they got married 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That's the shit that's important to me. And gym culture is what it is, but there was something lacking there for my generation group. The group of people that just want solutions. Don't sell me, just does it work or not? Does it work or not? And if it does, let's get started, and with somebody they can trust. Multiple clients of mine have been through programs and other coaches to where they promised them the moon and they came up short. And so at this place where they're really frustrated with the solution that's given to them, if it's just some bullshit. Does it work? I just want my problem solved. I just want my cholesterol lowered. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to feel better. I want my spouse to look at me again like they used to. I want my kids to respect me. I want my kids to idolize me and look up to me. I want them to know that I'm going to be here for them and I'm setting healthy habits for them, teaching them healthy routines, eating, having a good relationship with food, their body, understanding physical health and wellness. And that was missing. It was missing for my generation. And I always thought I shouldn't do it. I was so worried about what my buddies that were already doing fitness would think. I was really worried about what my community would think because I don't know anybody in the Polynesian community that's doing what I'm doing. And that was always the thing that held me up for all these years. And eventually, once I did it for myself and helped family members and some coworkers, I thought it doesn't matter if I help one person, which I did. If I help family members, I'd help them. And I'm always going to be family. I'm always going to be here for them. What if more people need the style of assistance that I give? What if somebody needs to actually talk them through, get them to understand these basic principles and concepts and walks them through it? Not a provider that's just going to come in there, see them for 2 minutes, throw a script at them, and they've got 30 more patients to see. I don't know. I can't fix that. I'm not a provider. But somebody to actually sit down, take the time with them to break down their history, give them a understandable and logical solution to get from point A to point B when it comes to fitness and weight management and health management. So I did it. And I'm so glad I did. I'm about to run out of gas, but also running out of time. Got to chatting on. It's something I'm truly passionate about. And I was just happy to share my background and what led me to being here. So hopefully you found some of that informative. Hopefully you feel inspired. If you're like me and you have some medical field knowledge or you have some understanding of the human body and you want to do it, I would highly suggest you do it. Don't let what people think about what people will think about you hold you up. Do it. It's for the better good. It's for yourself. It's for other people. And if you're one of those other people and you're looking for somebody that understands you both physical wise, somebody that understands what you've been through, if you're tired of messing around and just getting the next bullshit offer, the next fly-by-night guy, the next influencer to tell you some bullshit, and this influencer happens to be 19 years old, no kids, no job, no stress of having bills, understanding timelines when it comes to work, hasn't put on 30 pounds, lost it, and is back in amazing shape. I'm sorry, it just doesn't hold any weight with me. You can't tell me how to be a dad if you don't have kids. That's just how I am. I'm not going to take financial advice from somebody that is broke and living on the streets. I'm sorry, it's just a rule I have. I'm not gonna take relationship advice from someone that's in multiple toxic relationships and can never seem to keep a stable one. It doesn't make sense. I've been married 18 years, and if you ain't been married equally for a comparable amount of time or more, I'm not taking your advice. I love you, but I'm just not taking relationship advice from you. And it should be the same with fitness and nutrition. If someone hasn't had similar experiences to you and doesn't understand you, they can run you through a program and you may see success, but what happens when you hit a bump in the road? They're probably gonna have to Google it and figure out what the solution is, or you can get somebody who's lived it, someone who's done it repeatedly for others, and someone who continues to do it to this day as their resume. I've never spent $1 on ads. It's word of mouth, and I want to get the information out there. I'd rather you have the information and then you apply it. And if you need one-on-one assistance, then get somebody who understands you and can walk you through it with a logical process that works. I digress. And thank you again for hopping in for Ride with Coach Kia this morning. We talked about my experience in the medical field, how I ended up where I'm at, my experiences in dietary, which led to some of my foundational nutritional understanding and applying it with residents as a high schooler and well into my early adulthood. Then my training as a medical assistant, then learning radiology and pharmacology and pulmonology, sleep medicine, internal medicine, leading into the laboratory, my understanding of testing, drawing blood, patient care, and ultimately getting into the fire service, where you got to have some level of discipline to get through the academy. You have to have some basic understanding to pass EMTB. Went on to get my paramedic and started this coaching business where I'm meeting so many good people, and it amazes me every day to know where the algorithm takes all this. And so if you found this helpful, leave a comment below, leave a question if you got one, but more importantly, if you're looking to join a community of like-minded people that are going through similar trials and tribulations, similar wins, you want an added layer of accountability, I have a free fitness community. It's called the Tautua Tribe. I run it on the school app. It's absolutely free. I know people on there that charge monthly, $100 a month, $50 a month, $20 a month to be a part of their community. Mine's absolutely free, and I give a ton of value in there. Put on coaching sessions, live Q&A sessions, also provide courses in fitness and nutrition, motivation, and I have some cultural things in there where I share my Polynesian culture in there, and you get a group of people that are around the world that you can network with. You could ask them questions about what they went through, or you could all talk about Coach Kia if you want to, but that's free. The Tautua Fitness community links are going to be in this video down below. Also, join the community, be active, and I'll respond to you. If you want more information on finding out how you can work with Coach Kia one-on-one, that information is going to be in the Tautua Fitness community too as well. Or you can email me direct. That's info@tautuafitness.com. Send me an inquiry there, and you can look us up on the Book of Faces, Facebook. Tautua Fitness is on there too as well. Send me a message and then mention that you saw it on this video, and hopefully you found it helpful. But remember, my overall philosophy when it comes to fitness and nutrition is that it's about progress, not perfection. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, be proud of who you are. Coach Kia. So.